Alright, timestamp it is July 1st, 2026. It's about 11:15 p.m. Um, in the alcove today with pics, health check. I'm congested between the fact that it's a hot enclosed hallway. It's also right where the dryer exhaust is. So there's huge amounts of dust and lint that have just kind of collected there. So we're kicking that up all the time. And I kept breathing some of it in, which that's real good for me. Not. She was doing most of the packing and unpacking, but I was going through the stuff nearest to the door. My dad saved so many. He was getting this tapioca pudding. It's in a little white cup, plastic with a lid, pre-made. He was kind of raised on tapioca pudding. That was something his mom used to make him. And he was saving. Let's take a shower because it was a good idea. His mom used to make him tapioca pudding all the time. It was like a household. I'm gonna go against the rules. Kind of the I don't want to say it was like the it was kind of the go-to treat, the go-to dessert type thing. It's a feel-good food for him. So, which I can respect. But he saved all the cups and the lids, and I know why. He wanted to use them for small potted plants, because my dad loves to garden too. He's not just an engineer; he's also a farmer at heart, really. But much like everything else around here, after you've saved about 5 or 6 or 7 or 1,000, if you're not using them with any kind of expedience, at a certain point, stop. You know what I mean? When I was doing retail, Pix asked me to stop getting boxes, and I told her basically no, because I knew that we had huge amounts of merchandise and whatnot. This is going to be one of those things that, a year from now, I'm not going to, I told you so, but she's going to be like, man, I'm glad you saved all those boxes. Because a year from now, that'll be the case with all the stuff we've got to do here. And with our own stuff. If we're selling it, if we're selling stuff in eBay and all that, we're going to need shippers. And I saved a bunch. I've got probably 1,000 boxes up in the attic at George, which is going to be a good problem to have. I was saving mostly smaller boxes, or I call them popcorn boxes because they're the boxes that usually, the box popcorn, the bags, microwave bags in a box. Nice, 2 loaves of bread size box, which is a really great size box when you've got oversized action figures, still on the blister, still on the board with the blister. Because a lot of the smaller boxes, they'll crush, they'll slide around. Those are the perfect box. If you are selling those, go to Dollar Tree, Walmart, or whatnot, and not pester, but get with the food person and whatnot and see if you can get the microwave popcorn boxes. The shippers, not the actual, they're really great for the really nice Marvel figures and some of the NECA figures and stuff like that. It's a great size to ship. But we were constantly using boxes, and we're constantly using boxes now too. When you're running out of places to store because we had a designated area in the attic. And once we got to a certain point, I did stop because we didn't have any more room. Moral of the story is, my parents, when they ran out of space in where they were storing a said item, they would force a new area to start stockpiling them. And they weren't using them. I've thrown away 1,000, probably, of them, which lets me know that over the past 10 years or more, he had a lot of tapioca. It's just wondering if I have any. Make sure I'm not stepping on Queenie. We're doing some Aldi French vanilla. We did some more Adventure Blend earlier. Alex tried it, and the Adventure Blend may become a fairly common thing here. Not sure if I have some handy or not. Yeah, there's some. What are you? There's just one very small stack. I threw away a couple of shopping bags full earlier. Cozy Shack original recipe tapioca pudding. Hundreds, probably 1,000. Again, at a certain point, you don't need any more. So, now one thing I'm going to look at tomorrow when I get some rest, because it was hot. It did rain, but it was still muggy. But I've got this to go through. Haphazard paperwork. And I can tell my mom is the one that kind of did that, because it's Cracker Barrel bags. Hi, Kaiser. That's Tiny's old man cat. He's 15. He is probably... there might be some, because of how prolific my cat was. My old lady cat, Lorgia, she lived to be 17, had about as many litters as my dad has tapioca cups. My girl lived outside for the first 9 years. Kind of refused to be an indoor cat. I've told this story a few times. And she was a whore. Always had a litter. One of the smartest mama cats I've ever seen, as far as the way she took care of her kittens. Because I've seen cats move their kittens into holes that are filling up with water during a rainstorm, and it's this will end poorly, She was, in a lot of RPGs, there's intellect and there's wisdom. And intellect is kind of your book smarts, your knowledge. Your wisdom is kind of your common sense. This cat had an 18 wisdom and still had a 12 or 13 intellect. Just one of the wisest cats I've ever known. But Kaiser is one of her actual kittens, not just grand kittens or grand kittens, because there's a lot of them. I know Stevie and Luther, who are Pix's cats, they definitely are related to Lorgia based on certain things that you can see in them, but they're probably 6 generations. It's all very White Wolf Vampire, Kaiser's first gen, or second gen, if you consider Lorgia first gen. He might be one of the last ones, but there were a lot of people that took kittens of Lorgia and moved who knows where. So, I mean, her progeny exists. And we got a crazy cat lady down the street from George Station who, it's actually where we got Stevie and Luther from. Half of the 30 cats, more than half of the 30 cats she's got, are descended from Lorgia somewhere. Because Kaiser's a tuxedo, but she was a tortoiseshell. And probably a third of the cats that are there are like tortoiseshell. It's like, yeah, you're definitely. And the others are, you know how this works. But Lorgia is the great grandsire of probably 28 out of 30 of the cats that she's got down there. That's my girl. Miss her. Lost her a couple years ago. 17, that's the oldest cat I've ever had. And this is not me advocating for this type of health care. She never went to the vet once. Never went to the vet once. And honestly, she was pretty spry up until the end. During the last couple days, we knew that she was, like, kind of doing the slow down. And it was like, you're getting ready to go, aren't you? But it's a hell of a battery. Yeah, maybe somebody in the neighborhood took her to get like her initial shots or whatnot when she was really young, but we hadn't, because she was an outdoor cat, raised, born of an outdoor cat that we knew, and yeah, could not get her to come inside. Tried like you would not believe. Always waiting on the porch for me when I got home from work. She could hear the car. She would come running. You would see her running across the street to your own, like, peril. Like, my God, don't do that. So that she could be on the porch waiting for me when I got out of the car. She knew the sound of the car. She would walk with me. There's a Circle K not too far away from, like a block or two away. She would actually walk like 5 steps behind me to the store, wait on the sidewalk, and then walk back with me. And there were people that were tried on several occasions to like, oh, what a cute cat, and she's like, nope, I'm out. She'd duck behind the fence or whatnot until they left. There were a couple times people would say, hey, whose cat is that? She's with me, They'd try and pet her, and she'd let them know that she was with me. It was a thing. But yeah, Kaiser, 15 years old, from her 3rd or 4th or 6th litter, don't know. We had 2 of his siblings too, but they passed several years ago. They made it to 10 and 12? 11? 10 and 11, I think. And he's still obnoxiously spry. And I can't forgive him for the things that he does directly outside the litter robots. Very upsetting. He gets it about 80% right. Needs to go inside the robot. Inside the robot, not on the step leading to the chamber. I would say maybe he'll learn one day, but we've had the robots like a year and a half, 2 years. I don't think it's going to take. Everybody else knows how to use it, right? What the hell's your problem? But yeah, no, I'm going to get some sleep. It was hot and the air was full of particles, which again, I have emphysema, so that's not necessarily a great environment. Pix was doing a lot of the wrapping and unwrapping, but I was still going through the stack that was actually stopping the door from opening all that well. Because when in doubt, make new stacks of things we don't need to save. A lot of glassware, again, a lot of glassware. Found some nice aluminum teapot kind of things. Some teapots, teacups, things of that nature. The tea kettle, a lot of them are rusty because they were in a plastic tote that wasn't sealed on the very bottom that was being crushed by the glassware totes on top of it. So they were resting in a, according to pics, like 6-8 inch deep pool of water. The tea kettle, it would seem, had a wood handle which rotted away, which is kind of unfortunate. Probably be repaired, but we need to figure out, we didn't throw them away, we need to figure out how to basically get the rust off, and I know there's chemicals that can actually do it, because it's a really nice set that was stored horribly and is now pretty messed up. But I think we can repair it. And it kind of has that, there's some stuff here that's broken that's not worth trying to fix. That, maybe. We're putting it to the side and we'll circle back around because we can't stop and focus on that stuff because there's, 12 more totes of glassware to go through. If we stop at every moment where something, a squirrel intrigues us, 1 year is going to become 5 years. I found a lot of chemicals, like cleaning chemicals, some of which were ones that we had bought for them to use around here, including a pet-oriented carpet cleaner that's supposed to go in the steam cleaner that we got them. We found that. We were wondering where that had been stowed. It was in the third box in the stack underneath 2 boxes of microwave dinner plastic bowls and tapioca bowls. There were like 2 banker boxes full of nothing but that. And he had some like styrofoam sheets, like small, thin. They were all kinds of disgusting and all that. Found a box of Avon stuff from my mom. My mom sold Avon in the 70s. So and she collects Avon because she was, she needed at least 40 different things that she was collecting, and that helped check off box number 33. Don't even get me started. Oh, too late. So there's some Avon decanters and whatnot in boxes or in parts of boxes because it looks like something made a nest. There's one box, it's an Avon plate of some sort, and an entire quarter of the box is missing, and there's a pile below the box, in the box, of like, we'll say confetti, which, if you're not an incredibly city person, that's a rodent nest. Mouse, rat, squirrel, maybe, probably mouse or rat though. Yeah. So go through that box with gloves, because now you're dealing with other possibilities. Found some detergent, some Febreze, big old thing of Murphy soap oil, which is a cleaner for wood, like big old, like 2-quart jug kind of thing. Just in the third box down or what have you. I know preppers, people that do, I don't want to say apocalypse prepping, but kind of, they have a phrase which is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. The idea that in a pinch, if you have two of an item, you're probably going to be able to find one of them. And also in that same pinch, if you have one of an item that you need, you may not be able to find it at all. So a lot of them encourage you to have two of the important stuff to make sure that you can always find one of them. My parents were definitely doing that philosophy, but I don't know that at any given moment they could have found either one of the two. Because there's no way even 3, 4, 5 years ago my dad would remember if you said, hey, we need something to clean some wood, some stained wood, we need a wood cleaner like Murphy soap oil or something like that. There's no way in hell that he'd go, I know I have a bottle. No way. It's as if you don't own it. But the encouraging thing about what we're dealing with, a lot of the newspapers that she's finding, the entire sections of newspaper that are wrapping small glass items, because it's consistent, are dated like 2021, 2022, which that part's encouraging because that's about when my dad really started to lose his nut in 2023. That's when weird things started happening, like the burglar was coming every day and things were getting stolen and moved around and missing, and that's when that really started to kick into high gear. So the idea that those newspapers are dated like 2021, 2022, that's encouraging because that means it's like geology, the various levels of the earth. The possibility of finding some of the stuff that got hidden in 2023, 2024 is now becoming a lot more real, in that the area that she is currently excavating, that's really the word, pardon, the possibility that some of the pocket watches and stuff like that, like those papers that I found, because that was actually underneath the 4 boxes or what have you over here, chemicals above them. And it's good to store chemicals near important paperwork. That's also a good idea, usually. And it's more fun when you puncture a couple of the containers maybe and leave some matches nearby. But yeah, from a date stamp standpoint, the idea that we're finding newspaper from that era, I don't know what else to call it, raises the probability that we're going to find some of the important hidden stuff. Will we? I don't know. To quote Geoffrey Rush, it's a mystery. But it's a lot more likely than some of the glassware that I was looking through, like on the Lanai, where they were wrapped with newspapers from like 2007, 2010, stuff like that. Those are old. Those are old wraps. Now there is still the possibility that he just, opened the tote and like put important stuff down the side. But I know that the stuff inside was wrapped a long time ago, so there's a good chance that it hasn't been touched, frankly, in 15 years. It may have been moved in that tote from our old house to Leo. It's a theory. I don't know. I have no idea. So the likelihood of that kind of important stuff being tucked in those totes, a lot less likely. A lot less likely. The chances would in fact be slim. Again, unless he had just a stupid moment, which we're dealing with a smart man with brain damage, who, because of the brain damage, makes stupid choices. I don't even know how to unpack that, as far as there are places that a smart person might choose to hide something, And if he was in that moment, then we might find them there. Then again, then again, we found very important things tucked in, insanely weird things. So, I don't know. But from from carbon dating, we can tell that this is an area that was put together. So there's like 4 stacks of toads there. She went through 2 of them today. And I went through the one and then stuff on top of the Faraday cage and some more of the stack on the other side. And I was taking stuff out to the trash can, which is now unable to close. It's just kind of like every trash day, our trash can is frequently have a contractor bag next to it of just debris. But yeah, the chance of us finding more relevant, more recently hidden things has gone up a little bit, so that's encouraging. We found some pretty cool glassware that we might keep here and there, and we found a lot of really cool glassware that is just not our style. So, got like 1 medium tote of stuff that Pix and I looked at and went, ooh, that's nice. And another 5 totes, I think, of glassware that we went, it's nice, but I don't care. Probably one of those totes is nothing but lead crystal. One of those totes is nothing but milk glass. If you know what I'm talking about, cool. If not, Google it. And then like the other 3 are various chinas, some of the different like colored glass and stuff. And we found some neat pieces. There's totes and totes of it. I'm almost becoming numb to it. I mean, I like what I like, but some of it's just like overkill. I know one that I found the other day that I showed Pix because I wasn't sure what she was going to think. And it's also kind of bizarre, really. I don't know if I showed you guys this or not. I might have. But this is the kind of stuff that we're finding. I don't know if that's... What are you? A goose? A swan? Probably supposed to be a swan. I mean, it's fun. And I can also say, I have nothing that goes with that. But we're finding some, like, really pretty, like, red glass chalices, pretty much, and found some almost lavender wine glasses. They're like lavender and clear. They're pretty, Keeping a few things here and there, but honestly, at the end of this, we're probably going to have 10 or 15 totes that we're like, I really like these. We're going to have to sit down and go through those 10 or 15 and go, okay, it's time to make the hard choices because we don't even need this. You know what I mean? Okay, we're going to pick out, 2 sets of wine glasses that we really, really like, and the rest we're going to sell. Because we don't need 8 sets of wine glasses. We're not opening a bar. Yeah, no, we're not opening a bar. I feel like I could remove the products from one some days around here. Not really a drinker. I have a bunch of Coronas in the fridge, a couple of wine coolers. Last time I had one was probably like a month ago, a month and a half ago, and I had, I think, one. I'm a heavy drinker, obviously. And I like one every now and then, but saw too many people that were using it as like a lifestyle, and if it's a big thing for you, cool. But to me, that kind of lifestyle, number one, whatever you're running from is still going to be there in the morning. Number two, it's a really expensive, like, can you call it a hobby? I feel weird calling it a hobby. What's your hobby? I drink. Okay. Yeah, I just never, maybe it's the Capricorn in me. It's just not like a practical thing, you know. I don't know. That sounds judgy, right? It's just not, I don't know. You know, when I was a teenager in my 20s, you know, I might buy a drink or two going out to like Ybor City or something like that, but I knew guys that would run up $100 bar bill a night, and it's like, wow. You know, I had, you know, a grasshopper for $8 earlier, and I'm good. I don't need to get, you know, ripped. I know I sound like an old man, right? That was me at like 19. And you're saying, wait, the drinking age is 21. Yeah, I know. I didn't actually start getting carded until after I turned 21, which I thought was hilarious, because there were doormen and bouncers and bartenders that were like, you've been coming here for like 3 years and you just turned 21? It's like, yeah. And they're like, I could get in so much trouble. That means I was serving you when you were like 18, 19, and 20. Yeah, I know. You're not going to tell anybody, right? Not until I'm 55 and doing a video journal on YouTube. If I had said that in 1992, I would have confused a lot of people. Yeah. It's true. Yes, we're doing. Mervyn. One brick. Did our one brick. I'm actually going over my brick list for tomorrow. Oh yeah, Tiny is with Pix tonight. One of the neighbors was complaining about the yard. Such a good pirate word, yard. So, okay. And it's funny too, because it's one of the neighbors that wants to buy the house. You want something from me. Maybe you should shut the hell up a little bit. Because Pix doesn't like social confrontation stuff. It really, but I guess he was like, you know, hey, you know, your grass is getting really high, the backyard's getting really out of control. And she's like, okay, we're dealing with, you know, my in-law's estate, and my father-in-law is dying currently, because that's pretty much where we are mindset-wise. And he's like, yeah, okay, you need to do something about that yard. And it's like, somebody's not going to be getting first choice on the house. What was your name again? I want to write down your name so I can cross it out. It's not the negotiation point that you think it is. I don't know. Honestly, the other people that we have 2 people already interested in the house. Like, don't put it on the market. We'll pay you a fair price because we want the house. That's a great problem to have. We just got to get her out of there, so we can do it. The other interested party, they probably have more money to work with than the one that got in Pix's face. So, but still, man, shut up. You know what I mean? It's bothering you so much. You got like 6 grown-ups that live in your house. Why don't you grab a lawnmower and help us then? You know, we're a family of 4. Both the grown-ups have health issues that make that kind of stuff very difficult, and we're dealing with dying parents. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not in an HOA, by the way. You know, I'm sorry. The height of the grass is offending you. Oh. Oh. Some people. Just looking over my list. Yep, I got a full day. I could say that every day of the week. This is a short form, you know. That's the short list. The big list is over here. Now, let me go get some sleep. One brick. Definitely starting to get my good attitude back. It's pretty. It's such a damn roller coaster, though. Trying not to be angry and bitter about the situation, but at the same time, kind of using it as fuel. And it's really hard not to be angry and bitter, because every day my day job, every day I am cleaning up someone else's mess that I begged and pled not to get left on my lap. So, you know, I forgive and all that, and then the next morning it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm back to exactly this again, because, yeah. Y'all called me a thief and ignored, and okay. Sure. And then you did things to make things more difficult for me to actually take care of business. Okay. Cool. Cool. Perfect. Yes. And this is why I got the court involved. She thinks the monkey is the sultan. She's a little crazy. Alright. Not that, doctor. So, yeah. You can tell I'm tired, right? Alright. So, hug your parents. Squeeze them so hard until they promise to not do this to you. When you hear ribs snapping, that's when you stop. Hug your... Please don't do that. I'm gonna get sued, I know it. Hug your kids. I'm a comedian, remember that. Yeah. Make it a great day.